A man is standing in tall grass. It is dusk. The light is dying behind a tree line he does not fully trust. He is not looking at anything in particular. He is listening. His shoulders are slightly raised. His breathing is slowed without his permission. Somewhere behind his eyes, a system older than language is scanning the grass for a pattern that doesn't belong, a shape, a stillness, a rustle out of rhythm with the wind. He does not know what he is afraid of. He only knows that he is. Most people assume our ancestors' greatest fear was the obvious one, the lion in the dark, the predator with teeth. That is the story we tell children, and the story we tell ourselves. It is not what the evidence shows. For most of human history, the body acted faster than the mind could explain why. Before there was a name for danger, there was already a response to it. A flood of chemistry preparing the muscles to run or freeze or fight, faster than conscious thought could intervene. This is not a metaphor, it is anatomy. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure buried near the center of the brain, can trigger a full-body alarm before the visual cortex has even finished identifying what was seen. In other words, the fear arrives before the understanding does. This single fact rearranges everything we think we know about ancient terror. It means the earliest humans were not afraid of things they had thought about. They were afraid of things their bodies had already decided were dangerous, long before reasoning ever got a vote. So what exactly had evolution decided was the deepest threat? The answer is not the lion. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies, some of the last living windows into a way of life nearly identical to our ancestors, kept noticing something strange. Predator attacks were rare. Even in regions thick with leopards and venomous snakes, fatal encounters were the exception, not the rule. Humans, it turns out, are not particularly easy prey. We are loud, cooperative, and dangerous in groups. And yet, the fear of predators never went away. Researchers studying the startle reflex found that the shapes of snakes and spiders trigger faster, more automatic reactions in the human brain than almost any other visual stimulus. Faster than the image of a gun, faster than an angry human face. The pattern is so consistent across cultures with no shared history of snake exposure that scientists now suspect it was etched into the nervous system long before Homo sapiens existed, inherited from millions of years of primate ancestors who lived and died by their ability to notice a curve in the grass a half second before it became fatal. But noticing a threat and fearing a threat are not the same thing. The body remembers the snake. The mind feared something else entirely. Picture an early human group at nightfall, perhaps 200,000 years ago. A fire burns low at the center of camp. There are perhaps 30 people here, and 30 is by every measure anthropologists have already a generous number. Most ancestral human groups numbered in the dozens. Beyond the firelight is a darkness with no edges, populated with animals stronger, faster, and better equipped to kill than any human alone. Alone is the operative word. A solitary human in the Pleistocene was not simply unlucky. A solitary human was, in evolutionary terms, already dying. No protection at night, no one to share a kill, treat a wound, or carry a child too sick to walk. Isolation did not just feel unsafe. It was a death sentence with a long, slow countdown. This is the discovery that reframed the entire question for researchers studying the evolutionary roots of human emotion. The deepest fear of ancient humans may not have been a predator at all. It may have been exile. Social psychologists in the early 2000s ran an experiment that, decades later, is still cited as one of the clearest windows into this ancient wiring. Participants played a simple ball-tossing game with two other players, except the other two were not real opponents, but part of the experiment, programmed to suddenly stop throwing the ball to the third participant. No insult was spoken, no threat was made. The person was simply, quietly, left out of a game that did not matter. Brain scans taken during the exclusion lit up the same regions activated by physical pain. Being left out did not just feel bad, It registered neurologically as an injury. This is not a coincidence of modern brain wiring. It is a fossil of survival logic, preserved in soft tissue instead of stone. A brain that treats social rejection like a wound is a brain shaped by an environment where rejection genuinely was one, where being cast out of the group was, for tens of thousands of years, a more reliable predictor of death than any single predator in the grass. The lion might kill you in a moment. The tribe could kill you slowly by simply walking away. There is a harder truth buried inside this discovery, one that becomes more unsettling the longer you sit with it. If the deepest fear was exile, then the deepest threat was never really the wilderness. It was other humans. Group belonging in early human societies was never guaranteed. It was negotiated constantly through cooperation, reciprocity, and reputations could turn. Anthropological records of contemporary hunter-gatherer societies show that the most severe punishment available to a group was rarely violence. It was withdrawal, refusing to share food, refusing to speak, treating a person as though they were already gone. In small, interdependent bands with nowhere else to go, this was not a minor social slight. It was closer to a death sentence delivered in silence. Which means the ancient human nervous system was not simply built to fear the dark. It was built to fear disapproval, to scan faces the way it scanned grass, watching for the rustle of withdrawn warmth, the same way it watched for the shift of a predator's weight. The same neural alarm, the same flood of chemistry, a different shape of danger, wearing a familiar face. This raises an uncomfortable question that most documentaries about ancient fear conveniently avoid. If the body cannot easily distinguish between social threat and physical threat, if the brain registers a cold silence from your group with the same urgency as a snake in the grass, then what does that mean for the billions of humans alive today, walking through cities, scrolling through phones, watching for signs of disapproval in places no predator has ever existed? It means the system never updated. The hardware built for a Pleistocene campfire is still running unaltered behind every modern human face. It still treats a notification of silence, a slight from a friend, a cold response from someone we respect, as something closer to a wound than an inconvenience, because for nearly the entire history of our species, it was. We did not outgrow the fear. We just changed the shape of the thing we are afraid will leave us. There is a final layer to this, one that researchers studying the archaeology of early burial sites keep returning to almost reluctantly because of what it implies. Some of the oldest deliberate burials ever discovered, bodies arranged with care, sometimes alongside flowers, ochre, or tools, suggest something stranger than grief. They suggest an early recognition that exclusion did not end at death, that to be forgotten, to be left without ritual, without acknowledgement, without a place among the names the living still spoke, was its own kind of disappearance. Even death, it seems, was not the deepest fear. Being erased from belonging was. So if you ask what the ancient human feared most, the honest answer is not the lion in the grass or the snake in the dark, or even the predator with no name. It is the silence of the group. It is the campfire that does not turn toward you when you return. It is the particular ancient terror of being a person with no one left to notice you are gone. That fear did not stay in the Pleistocene. It is sitting behind your ribs right now, the same as it always has, quietly scanning every room you enter, waiting the way it always has for the rustle in the grass that means you are no longer one of the ones who belong.